We've got UNICEF did a survey called The World We Want of UK young people, and asked the question, how can young people in the UK help to achieve the new UN Sustainable Development Goals? And the majority of people agreed that they wanted to be advocates and hold governments to account for the new goals.
Yes.
In your time as Minister, how much involvement did young people have?
Probably, if I'm being honest, not as much as I'd like them to have had. That's not because of young people, that's because of us. We need to make a greater effort to involve young people. I was very impressed with the engagement I did have though with people in the Junior Climate Change Fund committee who looked at the grants. And we also had the start of work, which unfortunately because of the changes in the government I've not been able to take forward, the formation of the 2050 group, and I know you've had some discussions with them. And I think that's very important because climate action, focusing, if we just focus on 2020 and 2030, that's not the story. The real problems we need to face are between now and 2050, and if we haven't turned the corner by 2050, as you know, the global society will be in real trouble. So it's important to look at the future business leaders, future leaders of civic society, and get them engaged at an early age. As I say, you've got most at stake, so it's important we listen to young people. The government generally is trying to engage with 16, 17-year-olds, obviously engaged in talks in the referendum, leaving aside the politics of the referendum. I think it's hugely successful in showing that young people do care and they've taken interest in one of the toughest questions I got were at school hustings, I can assure you of that, quite blunt ones. So I think Scotland's an interesting point. I think people are waking up to the fact that young people have a place in our democracy and we need to listen to them. So I wish we had done more. And I'm sure Aileen and Richard will continue to think of ways in which they can engage with young people on this issue. But when I've been out to climate change conferences, never lose sight of the value of having a gentle reminder when you're there from the Youth Climate Change Committee as to what their desires are, and they're pushing government of all stripes all the time to do more on climate change. And it's a good, no matter how good you think you are, it's kind of a salutary lesson to go along and to listen very constructively and making very constructive points. Just a reminder that young people want more action, not less, and that keeps you honest. I think keeps the climate change conference honest, and I'm glad they're there. And obviously within the NGO movement, young people play a very, very important part as well. I'm sure a vast proportion of the members of groups like Friends of the Earth and WWF and other NGOs that I engage with are young people, and they're influencing the policies of those organisations, and they're obviously making representations to ministers. So I just encourage people to get involved, not to feel frustrated, because we do listen. We maybe don't listen as often as we should do, and that's a lesson for us. But the more that people are involved, the more we will listen.
Great.